Happy Valentine's Day, Alex.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day. I want Valentine's Day this year. I want it really bad.
I feel like this year more than ever, I think we need Valentine's Day. Just a
Mhm.
day set aside for only love. That's it. Only love, light, joy, happiness, all the
Mhm.
things.
The good vibes. I'm all about good
The good.
vibes these days.
Well, and for you listeners who don't know, Alex and I do this every year. It's our favorite things episode. And you hopefully you know that our favorite things are really you and the deeper things in life. We love Jesus, we love people, and that really is our heartbeat. But today we just kind of talk about all the surface things that we love.
Mhm.
And this is just for fun. It's just for fun.
It's just for fun and a little bit pointing in the direction of just the things that we're attracted to as we do our daily lives and the things that help make our lives work. Because I really love hearing from you, Krista. You have really good tips on what makes your days work. Anything, I feel like pretty much anything effective I do in my daily schedule is because I have learned it from you. I mean,
Oh
just all the
gosh.
tips. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
The tips.
The tips. So
I
we're
do
going
love
to
a
jump
good
in.
tip.
We're going to jump in. But I do want to say, I think this year's favorite things episode is a little bit impacted by COVID. So it's,
Yeah.
all year long, we kind of come up with our list of things that are like, ooh, yeah, our listeners would really like to know about this. Well, this is the COVID version. And not that we are planning to spend another year in our homes like we have the last year,
Mhm.
but I as I was looking over our list, I was like, oh, this is kind of impacted a little bit by the year we've lived. So COVID version things we love.
Yes. Well, we always start with beauty
Mhm.
because who doesn't love a good beauty hack, right?
Mhm.
So, what's your beauty hack this year?
Well, this is so right there with COVID. I think I put makeup on 3 times this year. So I don't really have any except for one, which I discovered back probably in March when we were washing our hands in a new level. Our bodies went into shock. And that is Burt's Bees hand cream because one of my girls in particular and me, both of our hands were cracking. We were because our hands were so dry, and we live in Colorado. But it just our hands were in shock. So I found Burt's Bees hand cream to be my favorite hand cream during that time.
Yeah, because you don't want it to be so thick that it's like on there forever, but thick
Hmm.
enough that it helps.
Yeah. So I would just put it next to the soap at the sink. So after we'd wash our hands, then we'd put on some lotion.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Great. That's a good tip. Eric, because he operates, he
Mhm.
actually has that same problem. He has cracked hands all the time because surgeons are constantly scrubbing with these special scrubs. So we use that is it CeraVe? CeraVe hand moisturizer. It's thick. It's a
Mhm.
thicker, but it's not heavy and it's not greasy. So anyway, I'll link to that one too.
Okay. What about you? What are your tips, beauty
Well,
tips?
you know, I am going to tell you about something I started this year that I'm in process with, and I will let you know how it turns out. But I don't tend to like. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I don't. Okay, I'm going to back up there. We're going to cut this out.
You're loud.
So there's a product called Monet, and it's a hair care system.
Okay.
And I found out about it from Wendy from the Peaceful Homestead because she had gotten sick and her hair became really brittle. I don't know if she got the flu, something that impacted her hair. And it was like her hair was in terrible shape. Well, if you go to her Instagram account and look at her hair, it's gorgeous. She has
Mhm.
beautiful hair. And she literally said Monet changed her hair. I don't sell Monet. I just want you guys to know that I am like fully neutral in this conversation.
And your
I
link will go
literally
to my sales page.
no, like I don't sell this. Like, I'm just trying it because I was finding that my hair was just not, it was like the texture was weird. It was really heavy. And I think it was the products I was using. And
Hmm.
so I tried in the first couple months, I freaked out because I had a little bit of shedding, which is, I
Hmm.
guess, normal when your hair is returning to norm, when your hair is returning to its more natural state. But for the first time ever, I don't have crazy heaviness on my hair. And I'm starting to see the impact of it now that I'm almost 3 months in to using it. So I do wait for their sales. They have a sale on their shampoo that's when I buy it. But I will let you know if it change. If you come back next year and my hair looks amazing, you know it worked
Well, it looks
because I think it
amazing
may
now.
take a whole year of using it for it, but we'll see. We'll see if it's worth the investment. That's my big question. And that's always my question with beauty products. Is it worth the investment or can you go buy it at TJ Maxx? Because
Hmm.
my love affair with TJ Maxx.
Hmm.
And so if I can buy something at TJ Maxx, that's where I want to buy it. But if it's worth the investment, then I'll make it. And I think hair
Sure.
is kind of worth the investment if it actually works out that way.
Right. If it makes a difference. Does the price actually make the
Mhm.
difference? It's always the question.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll circle back, but I'm 3 months in and it is making my hair feel 100% different. So I do like that. And I would say maybe the other thing is I found a really good eyebrow duo this year. And I really like eyebrows. And I have
Okay.
thick eyebrows, so I have to work with them.
I don't know what an eyebrow duo is.
Well, it just means there's a little brush
Uh-huh.
with a little compact and it like you dip the brush in and then you kind of, make your eyebrows just a little more defined and darker.
Okay.
And it's called the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Powder Duo and then the brush that goes with it.
I mean, how can you
Do you
go
do your
wrong?
eyebrows? Do you do your
Anastasia
eyebrows?
Beverly Hills. I pluck my eyebrows, but I
Mhm.
don't fill them in. My
Yeah.
girls do. Yeah.
Yeah. Eyebrows, it's so funny. When I was in high school, I mean, someone needed to hand me a pair of good tweezers or a
Tweezers.
waxer.
Well,
I mean,
that
it was
was when we were in high school.
embarrassing. I mean, come on. And now girls' eyebrows, they're about as perfect as I've ever seen in my entire life. So, what happened between when we went to high school and now? I mean, it's just
Well,
insane.
it was the style partly. I mean, that's the reason people do it now, right? It's the style, and partly why I don't do it because
Mhm.
I'm never in style. So it's just a part of it is a styling issue. In 10 years, eyebrows won't be the thing, but they are right now.
Mm, maybe, maybe.
And
Well, okay, let's talk about gifts to give. Do you have any fun gift ideas?
well, my gift idea is for kids. So again, COVID. I know a lot of kids who have been stuck at home and parents who have been tearing their hair out trying to figure out things to do. So for kids that are ages like 3, I'd say all the way up to like 11 or 12, I have found one thing that I think works. So if you send it to a sibling group, it can be a really fun activity that they can do pretty independently. It is a little messy. I tend to be a pro mess mom, so just know that it can get messy because it involves putting your fingers on ink. And so Ed Emberley, do you remember the Ed Emberley coloring drawing
Yes,
books from our childhood? You
totally.
can still get them on Amazon. And he has a few books that are fingerprint drawing. So you press your finger or your thumb on an ink pad, make a mark on the paper. So you put a fingerprint on the paper, and then he shows you how to make creatures and people and airplanes out of your thumbprint or your fingerprint, the step by step. And it's so
That's
easy
what
that,
I did when I was young. I mean,
yeah,
it literally hasn't changed. I
no,
remember doing that.
yeah, it's the same book. So I have a book I bought at the thrift store. Like it was from the 1970s, probably. But you can buy them new now on Amazon. So that's what I do. I just buy the book, I buy a pack of ink pads and have it sent directly to the COVID home where the parents are freaking out and need an activity for their children. And it's been a really good go-to for families.
That's so cute. I
Yeah.
love that you're bringing that back and it's so retro. That's so great.
Well,
Love
and
it.
it's just, yeah, it's very doable no matter the age of the kid. And it's kind of fun for parents too, I have to admit. Okay, Krista, you
Yeah.
are a really good gift giver. So what's on your
Mm.
list these days?
Well, I've got two games, and these are
Mm-hmm.
for, I would say, they're for, okay, the first one is called Secret Hitler, and it is so
That sounds
fun. It is
terrible.
definitely my game recommendation of the year. So my nephew
Okay.
brought it at Christmas, and we went crazy over it. And even non-game players like this game. So that's what I
Okay.
like about it. But you do have to be, I would say probably around 10 and up would be the age for this one.
Mm-hmm.
And you're basically trying, have you ever have you ever played Mafia? Do you remember playing Mafia around the campfire?
Kind of. Yes. Well, I've played it
Well,
at your house.
anyway, I
Yeah.
mean, Mafia, people love it or hate it. Kids love it, but it's kind of like, you bow your head and then
Mm-hmm.
you pick who the,
Different
who's the
characters are.
angel, who's the, mafia, and then you all wake up and then, it's like you have to figure out who's who done it type thing. Well, this is kind of similar. Like there's the Hitler, and the whole time you're trying to like find out. And if you reveal who that person is, then you win the game. And if they make it to the end, they win the game. So, and then there's fascists and there's liberals, and it's
Oh,
actually
wow.
just
Sounds very
so.
timely.
Oh yeah, and it's super fun. Like it's a total blast. So, and I actually had a friend send it to me for my birthday. And so it's so great because now I've got one that I can kind of take on the road with me to different places. So I'm excited. And then the other game that is high strategy, but if your family likes strategy games, you will love this game. It's called Seven Wonders. And it's one, I was actually looking for a new strategy game because our family, besides me, I would say, loves strategy games. Like they'll sit there for hours and play Risk and Settlers of Catan and, all those. And
Mm-hmm.
this game, they love. So it's taken over. Like now this is the one that they choose. So Seven Wonders. And I would say another really great go-to is the iAudi Easy One Touch 4 dash car mount for your phone. Okay, so this is probably my gift of the year. So I have been looking for a phone holder
Mm-hmm.
for probably 5 years that actually works well and that will not come off the dash, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
either like, because I have the big phone, like I have the wide big iPhone
Mm-hmm.
because my vision is going a little bit, and so it really helps me to have that big daddy. And I love finally have found a phone holder in the car where you can stick it up on your dash. It fits right into the heater and you stick it on there. It's a magnet and it actually stays. It actually holds your phone. So if you're like doing directions or whatever, it's just right there. It is like finally I found
Mm-hmm.
something. And you
That's
just buy it on
good.
Amazon.
Okay. I think I'm going to get
Mhm.
one.
Do you have one?
Mm-mm. That's a gift I'm going to get myself. No.
Okay. Well, it's worth it. And then I would say another good gift that this is a COVID one is I don't know if you're familiar with Le Creuset
Mm-hmm.
products, they're stoneware,
Mm-hmm.
but I got one for our wedding and it's
Mm-hmm.
the only one I've ever had and it has lasted for 25 years
Mm-hmm.
beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're just that's the kind of kitchen thing that's like worth the investment, but to get it as a gift is like amazing, right? So, anyway, if there's an occasion where you can send someone a Le Creuset casserole dish that they will use for 25 years, highly recommend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They have a lot of the stores at the outlet malls here in Colorado too. So I wonder
See, we
if
don't
you can
really
get
have
them.
outlet malls.
Yeah.
That's great. Every
I don't know.
once in a while, I see them at TJ
Mm-hmm.
Maxx, but
Mm-hmm.
very
Yeah.
rarely do they get them in.
Yeah. No, they're a special treat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else in the gift department?
No, I would say maybe the last one is a good pepper mill. And there's a gold one that
Mhm.
I found recently that's so beautiful that I love keeping out. But I just like a good pepper mill because I really like a good cracked pepper. And
Mhm.
so, if you, I think that's a super fun gift to give people. Again, like just like the casserole dish, it literally will be used on the daily. So,
Mhm.
it, maybe it's something you can go in on too.
Mhm.
Same with the casserole dish. I do that often where I call my sister and be like, hey, my brother's birthday is coming up. Let's go in on something. And so that could be something too where you go in and get someone something that's really useful that they'll use every day, like a
Mhm.
pepper mill, a really good
Mhm.
pepper mill.
And I will say, I'm really big on giving actual gifts over gift cards because
Yes, me too.
I mean, I know hey, I've never turned down a gift card when someone's given it to me. So I want to be really grateful for all of them. But I'm just thinking of the pepper mill, like every time somebody grabs it and thinks of you, or maybe they don't think of you every time, but it's just that tangible reminder that somebody thought of you to give that to you. I like
Totally.
that. I like that.
I am 100. I'm glad you brought that up because I actually am 100% about that too. Like just going that little extra mile, it does make a difference, even if I know sometimes kids want gift cards, but if you're going to do a gift card, like maybe do a little something else with it, just so there's another, I don't know, another
Mhm.
physical gift.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that matters to gift
Okay. What
givers.
about, yeah, and you know that
Mhm.
I am.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about favorite home decor or something for your home? Again, this is kind of a COVID question.
Oh, yeah. I got two really good COVID answers. So the first is we had to get a Wi Fi extender when we went back to virtual school this fall. So, spring, we were all virtual, but it was kind of I don't want to say a joke, but it was optional. But when we went back in the fall, we knew, okay, this is serious and it could be long term, which it has proven to be. So we also suspected we may have some internet issues. So we ended up doing a whole bunch of research. Anyway, we have Xfinity internet service here. That's our provider. And so we got their pod Wi Fi extender, which are these little things you plug into different rooms around your house. We have a lot of square footage and only one router in our home. It's kind of a first world problem that we have. And but the good thing was we could spread people out for school and people could be in different rooms because anyway, it helps spread your internet out throughout a larger space. So I knew a lot of parents who were doing this right at fall too in Denver because people's internet, everyone was kind of huddling around the router and we were having 6 people using internet streaming at a time if people were in meetings, which our kids were, and then Derek was, and then sometimes I was, and it's just a lot. So, anyway, that was helpful, virtual school related. And then,
That's a great, well, and I want to tell you that, if you don't want to go through your provider for that, I
mhm,
went to Costco and
mhm,
got the Google system, which is just these round pucks that you
mhm.
put all around your house. And so that's another option because I know, don't you have to pay monthly for the extender?
I'm not sure, but I know that when I asked our little neighborhood mommy group, people had all different
Mhm,
brands that they used. So a lot of people did use the Google ones. And I don't know
mhm.
why we are using the Xfinity ones. I don't think we're paying a monthly. I think we just paid for them. We bought them.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't know.
Mhm.
But
Anyway, well, it's just another option. It's
yes.
a it's a good idea though, especially
Mhm.
if you're having problems, which we do all the time.
Well, and I heard a lot of people saying, I'm trying to get my kids to work outside and then they can take them outside and it can help. It can
Mhm.
just help as we're doing the very best we can with everybody at home. Okay, and then the second was something that I'd used a little bit, but you really encouraged me in this area. And I found it to be a very COVID friendly way to shop, not to mention budget friendly, not to mention fun for my kids. And that is Facebook Marketplace. Now,
Oh,
probably living in a city, in a large urban area, I can get really specific. Like if I wanted to find a certain casserole dish and a certain brand, I can put it in there and there's a good chance I can find one on Facebook Marketplace. But we did a lot of just refreshing this year because we were home all the time and sick of our house. And so a lot of our refreshing was buying stuff on Facebook Marketplace. So what that is it's kind of like Craigslist, but just on Facebook. And you put stuff in and it's like one big internet yard sale. And so what people did was they would just do porch pickup. They would leave it out for me. I would Venmo them the money. I'd pick it up, and it was totally COVID friendly. So that has been super helpful. Thank you,
it just
Krista.
has a different vibe. I mean, Craigslist is kind of creepy half the time, and you get these weird messages. Facebook Marketplace has nothing like that. People Venmo me, they come grab it off my porch. Like, it's much more personal. There's a face to the name. You can see who they're friends with. And usually maybe, I don't know. It's just, it feels totally different.
I'm sure that's true because it is attached to people's personal profiles. So you know how to track them down too. I think there's that element. But it just feels friendlier. You're right. And so we did a lot of that, and we have someone who needs driving hours. So it was a great way for her to drive me places this summer because we didn't have a lot to do. So that was good. Okay. What about you, Miss Home Coach? What are your items for the home?
Well, I'm going to share a splurge that I did this year. And I've been looking at these for like 3 or 4 years. Like, I'm not kidding. I've been looking at them for that long. And that is the Cozy Earth sheets. You may have heard of them through Oprah because Oprah talks about them all the time.
You have Oprah's sheets?
I have. Oh, well, yeah. You know how she does that favorite things deal?
Yeah.
Well, these make it on there. I want to say they make it on there every year, but well, they should if they don't. But like, she's had them on multiple times, and they're just incredible. They're bamboo, and I had a big birthday this year, and that's one of the things I got for my birthday. And they are every night, like literally, even my husband, which Eric, he is not someone who's really attuned to that kind of stuff. I mean, he's just not. It's just not his DNA. He's just,
he sleeps. He's like, time to go to bed, falling asleep.
Yes.
He's a doctor. They do that.
And every night he crawls into bed and he's like, these are amazing. So, I mean, even he thinks they're amazing. I'm just saying they're not cheap because normally, I mean, Costco has great sheets, and so you can normally just get your sheets at Costco and call it good. But for a big birthday, we decided to do something I'm going to sleep in every darn night. And I am really happy, really, really happy about the gift. I'm just love them. So Cozy Earth sheets, that's my first one. And then, I feel like, I don't think this was on the list before, but I should have had it on the list before. And that is the Mon Chateau faux fur, because I use them everywhere. And I found them at Costco for $15 it's seasonal though. Like literally they get them in, it's seasonal. They had a special on them. So they were normally like 25 and they had them like $10 off, which is amazing. And then they fly. I mean, literally, like they're just gone. But you can also find them on Amazon, but they're more expensive on Amazon. But I'm just giving the tip that Costco will get them next Christmas-ish, winter time, and you have to grab it fast. But they're incredible, and they make just everything pretty, everything soft and cozy. You can put them in front of TVs. You can put them on the backs of chairs. I put them on my dining benches. Like literally, I use them for everything.
Yeah, you do. Because I spot them on your Instagram. I'm like, oh, look at that. She put it there. Oh, look, she put it there. It's on her table. Because it's on her chair. It's on her ottoman. Yes, I
literally put them everywhere. Put them everywhere. But I also get them for $15 at Costco. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. Well, what about kitchen? What do you have as your favorite kind of kitchen food hacks or favorites this year?
Okay. Well, back to pandemic life and my neighborhood moms group. Can you tell this is my support group in my neighborhood, giving all the tips during COVID? Someone said the Costco Business Center has yeast because everywhere was out of yeast this spring. I'm like, what's the
All
Costco
right.
Business Center? Well, we have one in Denver, and I don't know. I don't think they're everywhere,
They're
but you
not.
can get into them if you have a regular Costco membership. So you don't need an extra membership. And they are intended, as the name states, for businesses. But they carry a lot of the same food that you would get at a normal Costco, but they don't have a lot of this regular things. They don't have books, they don't have clothes. But what they do have is drinks and snacks. So, for a family of 6 that is stuck at home, because they're intended to supply like convenience stores, I'm like, I'm running a convenience store. Okay, people, I have my convenience store situation. So, every kind of bag of chip, every kind of candy bar, every kind, and then drinks. Like they don't just have the, one kind of combo LaCroix. They have the biggie of each flavor. And so I have spent a lot of time at the Costco Business Center this year, and also it's less crowded. But they also have all of the baking supplies, and I did a lot of baking this year. So that
That's
was
fantastic.
a new thing for me. If you live in
Mhm.
a place with a lot of Costco's, I'm going to guess you have to have a lot of Costco's in order to also have a business center. Then I would say go take a visit, because now I alternate between the two, between my regular Costco and the business center, because they do carry different things. Okay.
Mhm.
I did Whole30 right at the beginning of the pandemic, and 2 things have stayed in my diet. Nut pods. Are you familiar with nut pods?
Yes.
It's
I love
the
nut pods.
non-dairy creamer for your coffee. They have
Mhm.
regular, plain, and flavored, and I really like them. So I have kept
Me
using
too.
those. I've kept using those. And then capers, which I found at the Costco Business Center, huge jar of capers. And I just never cooked with them before, because I think at the regular grocery store, you get a little tiny jar and it's so expensive. And I'm like, I'll use it for one recipe and then I won't use it and it'll go to waste. Well, Costco Business Center is like a jug of capers, and I brought it home, and now we put them on everything, including eggs in the morning. So that has been
Mm. See, I
revolutionary.
love capers, but our Costco doesn't carry them.
No, the business center, not the regular Costco. Only the business center has them.
Mm.
I know.
Yeah, see that we don't have a business center.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous of your business center.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have to tell you, I had the most amazing capers the other day at that hotel that we went to for my
Mm-hmm.
birthday. And they sautéed them until they were like had kind of a little coating on them. It was amazing. I mean, yeah.
It
So
sauteed them in what? Like
I
olive
don't
oil, or
quite know, but it had like this coating on it. So when
like
they were
bread or
almost
something? I mean,
crunchy on the
flour?
outside. Anyway, you'll have to look into it because it just made it was like delightful. It was like party in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. That sounds yummy. Okay, what about you in the kitchen?
Well, I feel like I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to spend much time on it. But the air fryer,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of an air fryer. Get yourself a good air fryer, save yourself a lot of time. It's healthy. If you eat a lot of protein, it's just a great solution. Kids can do it independently, which is one of my big markers of success, is
Mm-hmm.
that they can do it on their own. They can take, a piece of chicken, stick it frozen in there, and it cooks it. I mean, it's amazing. So air fryer. Okay, I got this for the first time, and I actually gave it as a gift. I got it on Black Friday, so I did their big sale. Um, but the Always Pan, have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
It is kind of like the hottest thing in the kitchen right now. And it's this woman, and she's just got to be loving life because she just created this product and it is like gangbusters. They literally can't keep it in stock. Every time it gets back in stock, it sells out within a day. And it is a pan that does everything. So it replaces your frying pan, your saute pan, your steamer, your skillet, your saucepan, your nonstick pan, and it even has a spoon rest on it. So it like literally is like, that's why they call it the always pan. It's like you can throw, so their big shtick is that you can throw all your other pans out, which I don't because I need different sizes, but you can throw all your other pans out and just use this. And it comes with a steamer basket in it. And we have loved it so far. It is so even like for people that live in apartments, this would be a great solution because it's kind of a one-stop shop pan. So I really, it does live up to the hype. I will just say that. There's a
Okay.
lot of hype about it. And then I would say the last thing is my sister got an espresso Virtuo coffee machine and it has changed her entire life and it is really good. Like she
Mhm.
talks about this coffee machine like it's her best friend. And it does make really, really, really good coffee. So are
Mhm.
you familiar with an
Mhm.
espresso?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kendall, my sister-in-law has one. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's yummy. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a good price point
Mhm.
compared to like the big fancy espresso. Like if you're wanting a good solid espresso machine, but you don't
Mhm.
want to spend what it costs to like get the big ones, this is a great option for people.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does make yummy coffee.
Okay, how about apps? I don't have any this year, but I think you've got a few apps you really love.
Mhm. Well, I'm kind of late to the game on using Lightroom to
Mhm.
filter my Instagram photos. But I
Mhm.
was convinced and I use it now all the time. And I bought some presets that our friend Micah Hunter recommended and I use them on my Instagram. So that's fun.
Did
Yeah.
you get the Monica Hibbs ones?
Mhm. I did.
The Monica Hibbs
Yeah.
presets? Yeah.
Mhm. And yeah, I think there's a big package and a small package. And I think I maybe bought the big package, but only use a few of them, which she said before you buy, look and see which filters you think you'll use. And then maybe you don't need to buy the big one. Big one. I mean, it wasn't that expensive.
Mhm.
Canva, I have been using more on my app. I've used it on my desktop before, but I'm using it more on my phone these days. But my number one thing, if listeners only take one recommendation from me from this episode, is this app, Pray As You Go. I am telling you, it it changes my days. It's kind of like my Revelation Wellness workout. Like those two things set me in the right space. And I do them at different times in the day. If I was more disciplined, I would do them both right at the beginning of the day, but I don't. And it's called Pray As You Go. So like today I listen to it. It's a usually around a 12-minute devotion. And I listened to it today when I walked to the post office. So uh, it's British. So all the people have British accents, which just is kind of calming, but it's very soothing. Usually starts with music, maybe some choral music or just devotion music, and then scripture, and then some contemplative prayer around that scripture. And it just is very calming and centering to me. And I find it to be very refreshing to my soul. So pray as you go. Just find it on the App Store.
I love it. That's
Hmm
so great.
And
Uh,
Derek likes it too.
oh,
So
he does.
yeah,
Okay. Awesome.
it's it's very contemplative. It's very peaceful. A friend of mine sent it to me, and I just really love it. Okay, so that's it for
Well,
apps.
let's talk while we're on phone. Let's talk
Mhm.
about podcasts. Do you have any that you're loving?
Well, I guess I said the Holy Post last year. I still listen to it. So I went through my podcast app to see like what do I listen to because I don't feel like I listen to many podcasts, and it turns out I don't. So this summer, the New York Times came out with a 5-part series that a lot of people in my neighborhood were talking about because it's about integrated schools, and it's called Nice White Parents. It's a 5-part series. They follow a middle school in New York City over a span of 20 years and how it changes based on demographics of the neighborhood. Super specific topic, but I'm very interested in that topic. And it was getting a lot of buzz and press. So anyway, I listened to that this summer. But Other than that, I listen to ours. I listen to Pray As You
Mhm.
Go app, and I listen to the Holy Post maybe 50% of the time.
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
about you?
I would say for me, I you know that I love John Mark Comer and he's been on the show and I just adore him. And their Bridgetown podcast really got me through COVID. I will say that. Like it was powerful. It is powerful. I listen to it all the time. My husband listens to it. We both absolutely love it. We talk about it together. So love, love, love the Bridgetown Daily.
Mhm.
And then another one that I actually found through my coaching stuff was The Art of Happiness with Arthur Brooks. And he is, I think he's at Harvard. He's at one of the big Ivy Leagues. So either Harvard or Yale. And he studies happiness.
Mhm.
And he's also a Christian and he's awesome. He is awesome. So I really love, like, he's super smart, as you can imagine. Super, super smart, bright guy, and also has a faith. So,
Mhm.
and he talks about interesting topics. So I like that one.
Hmm.
Okay, let's move on to favorite Netflix or Prime. Do you have anything that like you have to say this one is
Mhm.
fantastic?
Mhm. I do. I have two. We watched a lot of TV. I'll just say that in the last year. I'm not a big TV watcher, but we were looking for series that we could watch, and we had a hard time. We just always do with the age range of our kids and what's appropriate, what's not. So these are all things that I watched with my one of my older kids and my husband. Um, but my two favorite series this year were on Apple TV. So the bummer is you can only access them through Apple TV. But the first is Ted Lasso with Justin Sudeikis, who used to be on SNL. We're big Saturday Night Live fans at our house. Um, his character, I just want to eat for breakfast. I just want more of him in my life. Now, the disclaimer is there's a lot of cussing. My teenagers are okay with that. And but more, there were a few sexual references that I was like, really? Why did you have to add this? This is such a good content show. So just know that there's a few references that I don't endorse, but I endorse his character. He is about finding the good in people. And I was writing a book about that while we were watching it. And I thought this man and his spirit embody goodness. And so anyway, I just really enjoyed Ted Lasso. And
So fun.
yeah, other people in my house did too. And then probably my favorite, especially if you have teenagers, is The Morning Show. Do you remember hearing about this? It came out a year ago with what's her name from Friends? Um,
Oh, Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston is the star, and Steve Carell is in it, and Reese Witherspoon's in it. And it is about sexual harassment in the workplace. It is so good. It's entertaining, it's deep but not dark. The characters are so well developed, and the conversation starters for young adults are just out of this world. I mean, as far as what's appropriate, decisions people are making, dynamics, marriage, faithfulness. I mean, it just is so jam packed with so much good content. And I really loved it. There's one scene in the episode, there's one rape scene, and that episode
Mm.
has a warning. So, and we fast forwarded through that one. Um, so that's kind of the big, I mean, it's heavy stuff, but teenagers
Hmm.
are talking about this stuff anyway. So
Yeah.
I just really, really loved it. And I just loved the complexity of the characters. So those
Hmm.
were my two big ones. What about you?
Okay. Super fun. Um, let's see. I would say, well, okay. Do I even need to say The Social Dilemma, or is that just a given that everyone's watched that? Because
No, I think not everybody has. We did watch it,
I
but
mean, I think it's. I mean, some people are like, I think, some, especially teenagers, they're like, oh, maybe it's overdone. But I actually think it just brings awareness to
Mhm.
how social media platforms do their algorithms and how that impacts us and how we actually become products for the
Mhm.
first time ever in history. And I think it's fascinating. So I think, it's definitely worth like having everyone in your family sit down and watch it, even if they're not super excited about it. Try and make ice
Mhm.
cream sundaes, make it fun. Um,
Mhm.
and then I would say, of course, I don't know if you know Studio McGee, but in the design
Mm-mm.
world, they're kind of the hottest thing out. And Shay McGee, and they have a new Netflix series called Dream Home Makeover. And she's just incredibly talented. I mean, she's amazing. She's out of Utah. She's out of Salt Lake, and it's kind of a rags to riches story. They were flat broke, and she just has insane talent, and now they have their own Netflix program. So anyway, so that's fun. And then the last one I would say, again with a little bit of a warning, is Bridgerton. If you like Downton Abbey type things, you will love Bridgerton. But here's my sadness a little bit, and I just want to be real honest and vulnerable here, and that is that I have a certain amount of sadness around the way that media is approaching sexual encounters
Mhm.
on screen, because I think it really sets people up for failure.
Mhm.
Because, and I know I'm going a little deep here, but we just can't help it. Even on a fun show, it's who we are. Um, but just the fact that like they're so graphic. And so I want to just give a warning that if you do watch this show, I fast forwarded through a ton. And so I actually don't totally know what was in it because I fast forwarded it, but I kind of know where Netflix is headed with all that stuff. And I saw it. I had to stop watching. My Orange Theory coach talked about Game of Thrones like it was the best thing ever. And I had to stop watching it because of the graphic content. I mean, I was like, I can't. Like, I would love to be able to talk to you about this, but I can't. And so just a warning, and yet it's such a great, well done, beautiful show, just like Downton Abbey. But I feel like they're really pushing the boundaries with sexual content, and I think it sets people up for failure when it comes to marriage and the sexual relationship. And that's my 2 cents.
Mhm. Well, it's interesting because I haven't watched it because Downton Abbey is my favorite show of all time. I would normally want to, but I saw some comments again on Facebook, in my little mom group that were joking about how sexual it was and that they wouldn't let their teenage daughters watch it with them. And I thought, I don't think I'm going to watch that. But it's good to know that there are some parts to it that you like, that
Well,
the
no, I
characters
really,
are
and
good.
that's what I guess that's my sadness is I'm
Hmm.
like, is it gone? Are the days gone where we can have a show that's really well done and the characters, like the characterization is beautiful and like just the way they do everything, just like Downton Abbey, right? All the characters, you're just drawn into them. But
Hmm.
then are the days gone where they don't have graphic sexual content? Because not only I think is it negative for us, but like, I don't want to watch it. I don't want that stuff in my head. I
Hmm.
mean,
Right.
just like I'm not going to watch pornography for the same reason. I have boundaries that I have to keep for my own good and for God's best for me, right?
Hmm.
And so I can't watch that and have God's best for me in that. And yet, like, anyway, how do we make our voices known, Alex?
I
That's my
don't know.
question to Netflix.
I don't know. I think it's this desire to have stuff that is good. And I don't want to use the word wholesome, but just that is thoughtful and good. I think Downton Abbey did a pretty good job of that. But that
Me too.
um, isn't cheesy. And sometimes when people go like wholesome, then it suddenly becomes cheesy. And so how do we have thoughtful art out there and entertainment? And that's one thing that when things are playing at my house, I'm like, should we be entertained by this? And I will say, we talked about this in the spring that I watched The Tiger King. And I have regrets about watching that whole series because about
The
episode,
Tiger King.
yeah, The Tiger King, because I kept thinking there's going to be some redemption here. Like there's going to be, and there wasn't. And the fact that I was being entertained by people's train wreck, because it was a reality TV, and that they were struggling, and that shouldn't be my entertainment. And so again, like drama, should we be entertained by this? Is this entertaining? That doesn't mean, like the morning show, that it can't cover heavy topics. But what's the direction of the conversation? I think that this show is pointing towards. So anyway, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard because I don't make TV shows, so, or I would make something.
I know. And I'm struggling with that. Anyway, okay. We can move on from that topic, but I think I'm probably not alone in just feeling, I mean, I'm like, really? Because this is available to my kids when they get on Netflix. And is this really, I don't want to see it, but is this what I want my kids to see? Absolutely not. I don't. This is not what I want for them. This is not God's best for them. And so, and yet, like, you know, how do you do that? Okay. I'm going to pause this for a second. Because we're at 45 minutes.
Okay. We can be done here.
Yeah, I'm thinking either that or we could do a part 2 and talk about the ones we didn't talk about and then just start the teen one later, or should we just wrap it? We didn't even get to Instagram accounts, which I think is okay.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to must reads. We didn't get to favorite recipes. People like all that stuff.
Well, would we want to do it as a bonus for some reason, like sign up for our newsletter and you get it? Would that be?
Yeah.
And you just get the uncut YouTube version?
Yeah. So our interview with, it's at 1 with Krista.
Right now, right?
Yeah. So we got to get off.
Okay.
So do you want to try and record a little bit tomorrow, or do you want to just be done?
No, we can. We have that other one, right? Do you want to do it before? I can do it before, or I forget what time tomorrow is.
Okay. Well, let's do that. So let's just say that's all we're going to give for right now. But, you know, if you want more of this, then sign up for our newsletter. How about?
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to start recording again. Oh, shoot. Well, Alex, I said we were going to keep it light, and I just don't know sometimes if we
It's hard for us. It's really hard for us.
It's hard for us, but I feel like that was an important conversation, so that's okay. But let's just end on a very light note. And why don't you give one of your favorite recipes? And then for people who actually want to hear the rest of our favorite things, we're going to do some must reads, favorite Instagram inspiration. We're going to talk about some more movies we like. We're also going to cover some of our favorite clothing. All of that is going to be in bonus content for our newsletter subscribers. So if you are a newsletter subscriber, then you will receive the bonus content and you can watch the rest of our favorite things. But for those who are wrapping up with us today, Alex, why don't you give them one book that you really loved this year?
One book. I would say my number one book this year was Compassion and Conviction by the AND campaign. And they talk about civic engagement as Christians and how we can have both compassion and conviction. And I think they just really, in an election year, it was a really helpful book for me. So that's my number one read from 2020. Yeah. What about you?
I love it. That's a good one. Well, why don't we just save the rest for, you can just go to our website, everyone, and sign up for the newsletter, and you're going to hear the rest of our conversation. But this has been fun. Thanks for doing it with me, and happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Okay. Lots of love to all of you, Sisterhood. We are sending you all of the Sisterhood love, sending all the love your way. And we hope you have a really blessed Valentine's Day. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.